Good morning. Oh, we'll just wait for this to pop up. There we go. I see it. I hope everyone is well. Let's go ahead and share this. Good morning, Amy. Thanks for being here on time. I'm going to share it and then we will get started. All right. Let me know if you're on. Good morning, Q. Let me know where y'all are watching from. Let me know that you can hear me. Jessica, good morning from Ocala. Mallory, good morning. So everybody give me some feedback. Good morning, Dinley. Amy's on giving me feedback. Okay. So this week, good morning, Miss Donna. Everybody go ahead and share this because there are more people on than Facebook is showing me that they're on. So go ahead and share it. Let's bypass Facebook's censorship and algorithms. So go ahead and share it. And everybody just do the dance with me. No. My wife doesn't like it when I dance. We got some exciting stuff coming out today, later today, maybe tomorrow. We will see. We got some stuff we'll share with you guys, but today we are talking about triumphing through trials, succeeding through storms. As Christians, we're not called to just survive situations, but we are called to thrive in all situations. And because of God's hand and favor upon our lives, the anointing on our lives, we can do just that. So, in some other preparation for some other stuff, I've been going through the Old Testament and just looking at different things. And so I've got a really cool story I want to share with you guys today, but let's set some groundwork first. Let's go to James chapter 1. James chapter 1 verse 2 says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy." Great joy. So we should be doing the dance every time a trial comes up, every time a test comes up, we should be doing the dance. Because we need to count it as great joy. Don't stress out, don't fret, don't get anxious. Count it as great joy. Why? Because it tests your faith. And when you test your faith, you gain endurance. I talked about this Wednesday night at church, that endurance in sports is like longevity over a period of time, longevity of cardiovascular, how would I say that, Mallory?
Stamina?
There you go. Cardiovascular stamina over a long period of time. So, it's the same thing with our faith. We have to have faith over a long period of time through the trials, through the tests. So whenever we come across a test, we should count it as great joy because it is an opportunity to increase our faith. So then let's hop over to Luke 8. We're working backwards in the Bible today. Luke 8. Verse 22. One day Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us cross over to the other side of the lake." So they got into a boat and started out. As they sailed across, Jesus settled down for a nap. But soon a fierce storm came down on the lake. The boat was filling with water, and they were in real danger. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, "Master, Master, we're going to drown." When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and the waves and the raging waves. Suddenly the storm stopped and was calm. Then he asked them, "Where is your faith?" So what I like here is that Jesus already told him in the very beginning, we're going to the other side. Let us cross over to the other side. He didn't say, let us try. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll make it. He said, let us cross over to the other side. Through Jesus, we already have the victory. We are more than overcomers. Greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world. We are on this earth to reign as kings. We already have the victory. He's already told us that in the end we win. So when the storms, the trials, the test, all of that comes, we don't have to worry. We don't have to stress. We don't have to fret. We can just rest, relax, and have faith that we're going to get through and that we're going to thrive. Good morning, Brandon. Love you, man. So now let's hop over to where I want to get to this morning, Genesis chapter 29. And I'm just going to kind of paraphrase and maybe read some of it. But this is the story, and it's just in 2 chapters of Genesis. So you can go and read it for yourself this morning in your personal time. But it's the story of Jacob. He went after he left. Well, we'll start in 28. Jacob got very early, and he took the stone he had rested his head on, and he set upright as a memorial pillar. Then he poured olive oil over it. So this is Jacob out. Jacob is trying to go to the land where his relatives are to find a wife. He finally arrives in Aram, and he runs into people at the well. And so he's asking about what's going on at the well. He was thirsty. And he was asking if they knew a man named Laban, which was his uncle. And he said, yeah, we do. Is he doing well? Yes. Verse 6, is he doing well? Jacob asked. Yes, he's doing well. They answered, look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the flock now. Jacob said, look, it's still broad daylight, too early to round up the animals. Why don't you water the sheep and goats so they can get back out to pasture? So then they go into this thing. They couldn't water the animals because they waited for all the flocks to get there. He sees Rachel. He acknowledged her. He explained to Rachel, we're in Genesis 29, verse 12. He explained to Rachel that he was her cousin on her father's side, the son of her aunt Rebekah. So Rachel quickly ran and told her father Laban. As soon as Laban heard that his nephew Jacob had arrived, he ran out to meet him, embraced him and kissed him and brought him home. When Jacob had told him his story, Laban exclaimed, you really are my own flesh and blood. Good morning, Jeff. So after Jacob had stayed with Laban for about a month, Laban said to him, you shouldn't work for me without pay just because we are relatives. Tell me how much your wages should be. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The older daughter was named Leah, and the younger one was Rachel. There was no sparkle in Leah's eyes, but Rachel had a beautiful figure and a lovely face. So basically he was saying Leah was ugly. She was not pleasant to look at. Good morning, Robert Hagan Sr. So don't name your daughters Leah. Anyways, verse 18. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, he told her father, I will work for you for 7 years if you give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife. Agreed, Laban said. So here we get into the trial. I'd rather give her to you than anyone else. Stay and work with me. So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel. But his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but just a few days. Finally, the time came for him to marry her. I have fulfilled my agreement, Jacob said to Laban. Now give me my wife so I can sleep with her. So Laban invited everyone in the neighborhood and prepared a wedding feast. But that night when it was dark, Laban took Leah to Jacob, and he slept with her. Laban had given Leah a servant to be her maid. But when Jacob woke up in the morning, it was Leah. What have you done to me? Jacob raged at Laban. I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me? So here he is, supposed to be his father-in-law now, and he gets tricked into marrying the wrong woman. And he woke up next to her unpleasant face. So then Laban makes an excuse, says, work 7 more years and I'll give you Rachel. So he does it. Then afterwards, we'll jump down to 30, verse 25. After he finally marries Rachel, and he says, verse 25, soon after Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, please release me so that I can go home to my own country. Let me take my wives and children, for I have earned them by serving you, and let me be on my way. You certainly know how hard I've worked for you. Please listen to me, Laban replied. I have become wealthy, for the Lord has blessed me because of you. So the Lord blessed Laban because of Jacob. Tell me how much more I owe you. Whatever it is, I'll pay you. Jacob replied, You know how hard I've worked for you, and how your flocks and herds have grown under my care. You had little indeed before I came, but your wealth has increased enormously. The Lord has blessed you through everything I've done, but now what about me? When can I start providing for my own family? What wages do you want? Laban asked again. So the storm here, the trial, the test, Jacob obviously could not trust his father-in-law. He had already tricked him once. And here he is, he's trying to break off and start his own farm basically for his family and make money for his own family because he was tired of making money for his father-in-law. So, Jacob replied, so here we are. Before we get into this, Jacob is given supernatural wisdom on how to make it through this situation and end up on top. We were about to see that not only did Jacob make it through the situation, but he ended up prospering through the middle of this storm, the middle of this trial. Jacob replied, Don't give me anything, just do this one thing, and I'll continue to tend and watch over your flocks. Verse 32. We're in chapter 30, Genesis 30, verse 32. Let me inspect your flocks today and remove all the sheep and goats that are speckled or spotted, along with all the black sheep. Give these to me as my wages. So that in the culture of the days are the sheep that no one wanted. They're like the runts, the ones that are impure. No one wanted them. Verse 33, In the future, when you check on the animals you will have given me as my wages, you'll see that I have been honest. If you find any of my flock, any goats without speckles or spots, or any sheep that are not black, you will know that I have stolen them from you. All right, Laban replied, It will be as you say. But that very day Laban went out and removed all the male goats that were streaked and spotted, all female goats that were speckled, spotted, or had white patches, and all the black sheep. He had placed them in the care of his own sons, who took them a 3 days' journey from where Jacob was. So here, Jacob is making it to where he is going to get the worst of the sheep. And now Laban even takes that away from him without him even knowing. He's undermining his wages the whole time. He's undermining Jacob the whole time. So here Jacob is tested, he is tried, and we're going to see Jacob come out not just even, but on top. Meanwhile, Jacob stayed and cared for the rest of Laban's flock. Then Jacob took this is where it gets really cool. Jacob took some fresh branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and peeled them. That must be what they made the first planes from. Plane trees? Just put a plane emoji up if you liked it. And plane trees. And peeled off strips of bark, making white streaks on them. Then he placed these peeled branches in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, for that's where they mated. And when they mated in front of the white streaked branches, they gave birth to young that were streaked, speckled, and spotted. How cool is that? Verse 40, Jacob separated those lambs from Laban's flock, and at mating time he turned the flock to face Laban's animals that were streaked or black. This is how he built his own flock instead of increasing Laban's. Wow. Verse 41. Whenever the stronger females were ready to mate, Jacob would place the peeled branches in the watering troughs in front of them. Then they would mate in front of the branches, but he didn't do this with the weaker ones. So the weaker lambs belonged to Laban, and the stronger ones were Jacob's. As a result, Jacob became very wealthy, with large flocks of sheep and goats and female and male servants and many camels and donkeys. So we see here Jacob is tested over and over again, and he even has what he thought was going to be a source taken from him. Maybe you're in a test, in a trial now, and maybe it looks like maybe it's finances and your financial source is taken away. Know that God is going to provide a way. I read this yesterday during Church in the Cities broadcast. There are over 1,500 ifs and conditions in the Bible, and 99% of those relate to the blessing that God has promised us. If we live according to His Word, if we live according to His command, if we walk and obey His commands, then He is going to bless us. He is going to take us through every storm, every trial, every test that we go through. And not only are we going to succeed, not only are we going to survive, but we are going to thrive. And this morning, I just want you to know that if you're going through something, just as we saw in Luke 8, He's already told you that you're going to get through to the other side. So let me just pray for you guys this morning. Father, I thank you for each and every person watching, whether it be live now or later on during the day. I thank you that no matter what they're going through, that you're going to not just cause them to succeed, not just cause them to survive, but they are going to thrive in the midst of what's going on. I thank you that you're providing for them everything that they need, that they will have more than enough. I thank you that if they live according to your word, that each and every promise in your word belongs to them. I thank you that we are victorious. I thank you that we are more than overcomers. I thank you that greater is He that lives in us than he that lives in the world. Well, if you enjoyed that message this morning or any morning, go ahead and partner with us. If you haven't already, you can do that through Zelle, which is just our email address, thesaltshaker513@gmail.com. You can do CashApp, which is $513 Salt Shaker. You can go to saltshaker.com. I'll put that in the comments. If you want to partner with us, that is the easiest way to do that. And we got some cool stuff that should be arriving at my door anytime today. So you want to stay tuned. Maybe we'll come on in the afternoon and show you some of that, because I am stoked. This is me winking at you. My wife's making fun of me. But we are pretty excited about that. So we love you guys. If you need prayer, if you have any questions, you can always message us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can email us. We love you. Brandon, don't worry. I'm going to mail you some of it. You get it. You get access to it. So we love you guys. We'll see